Welcome to my inn.
Okay, so we haven't had a video, we haven't had a bit of Hearthstone content for a little while on games.on.net, even though there has been the release of the Naxxramas expansion, which is really the first sort of single player content. It's content in the way that you're playing challenges, and we'll see those in a minute. But anyway, we thought we'd take you through. I'd wait until the first couple of weeks are out, because otherwise there's not a great deal. So I'll take you through what I've got so far, and we'll show you what we have here. Now, if you haven't played before, this is essentially what you get offered to. You get a series of normal, so straight boss challenges. If you've ever played Magic the Gathering, like the bosses where you might have extra health, or they might have some really insane power. Naxxramas is very much like that. And then you have a series of class challenges, and like it says, they have a special class challenge after you defeat them in normal mode. These are basically challenges against the bosses again that you've already beat, but you play them with a very particular deck. And most of these decks are, we'll go choose here. You can see like Mage, I've done Hunter, Rogue, Druid, and these will have, it says this special deck. It's not a nerf deck by any sense of the mean, but there are some special cards that you might not come across or you might not use normally. So we'll play one of those later on. And obviously the heroics, where I haven't tried to play this yet, as you can see, but they're just ridiculous. So instead of being, a hero power being like 3 mana, it might be like 2 and way more powerful.
Fealina is training acolytes.
For example, Fealina,
her job is very important. Do not disturb
her. So for example, the Rain of Fire here, it's like fire a missile for every card in your opponent's hand. It's now half as much. And the last one, Naxxramas, is instead of being able to return 1 creature from the board to your hand, he can return 2 creatures and it doesn't cost him anything. So that kind of stuff. Now, we'll go through a couple of these fights, and you'll see very quickly that I actually don't have a lot in the way of decks, and there's a really good reason for that. I have 2 Battle.net accounts, and for those who have been sort of following games.on.net for quite a while, you might remember that I used to do a lot of StarCraft content, because I used to play a lot of StarCraft. I used to play it competitively, and back then when I was doing that, you needed to have 2 accounts if you wanted to play on multiple servers. So I had 1 account for the Southeast Asian region and 1 on Korea, which is the one I was playing on more towards the end. And over the course of time, as I've done sort of a particular lot more content with Blizzard, sort of things have ended up on 1 account that haven't ended up on the second account. So I've ended up basically going through all the basic decks twice with Hearthstone, and then, stuff gets left over. So this is kind of my leftover Hearthstone account. So there wasn't a great deal. But the good news is, if you're just coming into it, you can actually get a fair way through with just the absolute basic. And when I mean basic, I mean taking, like, say, a priest or a mage, like I have here, from like level 1 all the way to level 10, not using, not paying a cent, not getting any extra packs, not doing anything like that, just the basic cards you unlock along the way. So I'll use a mage because I like mages. I like the sort of the battle situations that you can get with that. And we are playing the first one, if I remember. I haven't gone through the deck. There are a couple of different changes to this one from what's in the normal, and that was mostly only because of the last boss. Nax.
Welcome to my
not Naxxramas, but the spider one. We'll see him eventually. But like little things here, like the Kirin Tor Mage, you won't have them in the basic deck because you don't have secrets. So this is, I'll drop Kirin Tor because I don't have that many. I don't think I have that many secrets. I don't think it's going to matter. See, Abomination, that'll be fine. And I get Kirin Tor back anyway. Alright, whatever. So I'll just end that straight away. Usually hunters, going through hunters will have the easiest time, I think, through the basic decks, only because most of the powers are sort of, things that you can they're cards that you can play around in the case of sort of these, like this 3/1 Nerubian, or things that are, dealing damage based on the amount of cards you have. So if you have a lot of cheap cards, you dump your hand very quickly, and then it's not a worry anymore. So we'll just do this. I think this will be fairly simple. Like a little 3/1 creature here, I'm not going to care about that. I can get rid of it, I can go around it. In my case, I am going to go around it.
Many secrets.
And just turn it into a race. Death rattle. Opponent puts a minion from their deck. Okay, so that's interesting. Okay, I want to see if I can get away with this. And if I go... No, that wasn't going to work. I was going to try and go... Yeah, that's not going to happen. That's a bit of a shame. I was thinking of doing an Arcane Missiles. Hopefully 2 would hit, and then I was like, oh, I can do a Fireball, except Fireball costs 4. So I'm like, oh, maybe I can freeze it and then go in, but it's just a waste of time. I would be better off actually doing that. At least this way I can, by freezing the taunted creature, he can't take out any of my acidic oozes there. And then I can either one-hit him later. And actually, yeah, that's what we'll do. One hit now, I'll get a... Oh! What a beautiful card to come out, a taunt. And I'll just go Arcane Missiles. Actually, no. Do I want to do that? No, I don't. I'm just going to play. Reason why is I'm going to go Violet Teacher, Arcane Missiles. I don't need to play the Abomination because I've got the... okay, maybe I do need to play the Abomination. But yeah, whenever you cast a spell, get a 1/1 Violent Apprentice. You know, it seems... I like that kind of trade, but...
Pay attention, class.
Since I've got this, I'm just going to do this instead. So, 2 minions with Taunt. That'll give me a 1/1 Apprentice. And I'll just go... Bonk. Bonk. Oh, if they had hit all 3, that would have been hilarious. But as you can see now, like, there's absolutely no reason for me to be worried or concerned. You can summon the hero power is essentially worthless when you realise that you don't have to play into it. You can just play around it. And I think that's actually the key. Is it teaches you, and you see this a lot if you play, in my experiences with Arena and just playing a little bit of ranked. Is that there are a lot of cards that people think that they have to deal with. And they feel like that's taunt. Obviously you had to play into it, but things like sort of the Acolyte of Pain, the sort of the 1/3 where you get a card if it takes damage. You can just ignore it, it's 1 damage. So you don't need to do anything about that. So now, what's worth mentioning is when you beat every one of these, you do get a card and then you get an extra card. And when I mean card, I don't mean a set of 2 like you would normally need. You just get 1 as you go through each of these bosses. So the second one, Feolina, we'll go with the Hunter deck for this. We'll zoo this up. And in case you didn't know, the reason why it's called zoo is because you get all farm manuals out really quickly. I think that's the original basis for it. But the idea is essentially it's a very low... It's a very fast deck, it's a very low cost deck. You know, most of your cards are going to be between 1 and 4 mana. And I'll show, actually after this, I'll show you the breakdown. But I'm actually going to replace one of these starving buzzards. Just to see if I can get a 1-drop. And there, boom. It's all. Okay, actually I didn't really want that, that's a terrible 1-drop. For what I want to do right now. It's like...
Bring out your dead.
Summon a minion with that. I don't really want to, but I can't put that buzzard out and just hope that it's still going to stay there. So 4 damage straight to me. But sort of at least now I can go... The problem is, like, if... Yeah, the buzzard's gonna die straight away. It's kind of annoying. So at least now the hero power can't come out. Now, this Death Rattle, your opponent draws a card. I don't really care. I'm just gonna basically race 5, 7, 10 damage on the third turn. He can do that. Again, don't really care. What do I want to do? Probably safe actually is just get. I'll just readjust myself a little. Get that out. Hopefully it baits out the hero power a bit. Double rampage there. Okay. And he what? Still has 2 mana left. Doesn't use Rain of Fire when he could have got an extra. Okay, I don't understand how the AI works on that one, but that's fine. That's perfectly fine. First step, probably just get rid of that. Just get some spiders out. Kill command. I have to basically deal with this now just because I have to assume that I'll be dead otherwise. So, Beach Many, such a terrible use of the card. If I have a beast, well, I now have a beast. It's the most atrocious value. I think 3 cards for 1.
The damned stand ready.
Dear. Dear. I have to just get cards out because okay, so now I have a bit of a decent shot here. But it's kind of a problem now. 3 health to 15. I'm sure it'll be fine, right? What could possibly go wrong? I can't survive the next turn, so I have to play that.
I'll let the dogs out.
Alternative. Race this myself.
Embraces me.
Damn it.
The widow
Now.
embraces me.
Straight over the top. So that didn't really go anywhere near as well as I hoped. But that's alright. We'll go back and we'll use this as a chance to show you what sort of the decks are. So, Mage 1 I was talking about before. Give you an idea. It's pretty. I come from doing a lot of sealed deck and drafting in Magic the Gathering. I had like last year I got into it again after not playing it for a lot. So I like having really sort of attractive mana curves, if you like. Hearthstone kind of doesn't really lend itself towards that. If you go and you see on any of the websites with deck lists, it kind of looks all out of shape, that's fine because that's kind of how the game works. But I try and make something a little more appropriate. And actually what's going to be interesting here is that these 2 cards are essentially the same, but it doesn't stack them. It makes, makes sure that the foil, if you could call that a foil, a gold card I suppose, gives it a different designation. So anyway, that's just the basics. Again, and even for this is a very, very low curve, like set, 2 flame strikes here if you're mage, you're pretty much always going to have that. But otherwise, most of it's going to be around the 3 and the 4 mark. The hunter one. The hunter one's a bit 2 and 3 heavy. I could probably do a bit with that actually. I don't think I actually really need the arcane shot that much. So I'm gonna bin that. See if we can get something more around 4. Let's have a look. We've got animal companion actually is quite neat. Deadly shot is actually probably more useful, and so is Tundra Rhino, just because it has charge. But I kind of like Frostwolf Warlord more, only because by the time, just in my experience of playing this, every time I get the Tundra Rhino out, it's either out by itself or it's irrelevant to have it out by that time. Like every creature can attack, so giving my beast charge is pointless. And if you've ever played Magic the Gathering, again, one of the sort of the rules of drafting that just popped into my head at the moment was bread. So when you get like a set of cards, you get handed like a pack of 15 and you're like, okay, what do I take? And the rules are B for bombs, R for removal are the first 2 things you should go for. And I don't really actually have that much removal in this. I've got the multi-shot, kill command obviously, so a little bit more, the deadly shot is more helpful than just randomly doing 2 damage at the start of the turn to some, probably a creature that I can play around anyway. So we'll go back and we'll try that one again. And give Phaelina a nice proper crack. Mr. Bigglesworth. I think that's a cat. Yeah, that's definitely a cat. That's funny, I just had the same experience with my apartment, getting rid of a cat. Anyway, it went to a home, like, with the people that own it.
Let the hunt begin.
Alright, multi-shot, don't really need that, and kill command. Timberwolf's perfect, so let's see if we can hopefully get a no, didn't get what we want. So hopefully you draw something perfect. That will do me just fine. Get the scavenging hyena out. And we'll see where this goes. Yeah, excellent. So he managed to survive, so that's good. So other beasts on attack, 2 damage. And I am now winning the race. You lost the die roll. And now, after a couple of turns, this is basically the idea, like the ideal part of what you've always wanted, is to have this nice, easy flow. So, normally I consider like just getting rid of that to draw a card, but instead I'm just going to go 5 damage, 7 damage, 13 damage, and then I win the next turn automatically because I'm just giving myself.
In the master's name.
That's nice, but if you can hear me clicking furiously, come on, just die already. And you can do that pretty effectively with most of the base hunter cards. So
The Spider Queen will dispatch you easily. My Exna is a giant spider.
now, see, that's a hero power there that costs 3. In heroic, it costs nothing. That's 2 creatures, so that gives you an idea of how insane that the heroics are, and also because I have way too much work to sit down and just try and work something out, or try and create all the cards to make a heroic deck.
Let the hunt begin.
Oh, that's a terrible draw. Ugh, I'm just getting rid of all of that. Maybe I could keep the Grizzly, but I just don't want it. Yeah, I can't really. That suits me just fine.
Her poison will make your death mostly painful.
I feel like I've just, in the last 5 minutes, I've just won every single sort of random aspect that could have. Now, do I want the buzzard to come up, or do I want... I'll go with that. And I'm just going to essentially Charge. Okay, that's... I don't mind that too much. I can get the buzzard out. It will probably be returned, but... No, okay, see, that's fine. So now I at least get an extra card. Oh no, I don't, because the Houndmaster's not a beast. That's frustrating.
What do you call a player who just had his minion webbed? Doomed.
But at least at this point now, I have the ability to just go straight over the top. I don't have to worry a great deal. So what I'm going to do is put that back out again. Get the extra card that reserve. I'm not going to Hunter's Mark that just yet. I'm just going to keep racing. But I think I probably need to deal with it now. Ooh. Ooh, that's actually a really nice alternative. Now, how do I want to do this? Like another... Yeah, I think I'll go the bow. The bow's a good way of getting around this problem. And... I'll get the counter. Alright, so 1, 2, 3. I take a bit of damage there, but that's fine. I only want to deal with that because I know that's going to cause problems for me later. But I deal with it already. Ah, it's okay, I get that back. Deadly shot. Yes, thank you. 2, 5, 9 damage. Suits me just fine. So this shouldn't be a big deal. Close this up from here in the next turn or two. Do I have a beast? No. Do I have a beast? Now I have 1. 2 damage. 5 damage. Game over. So that's the kind of thing, like if you don't have a clear sort of synergy between what you're going for, even if it's basic, the hero powers particularly, you know, my Axners will just, it'll be a wall that you'll just never ever get over. And that's kind of why it says, like, when the loading screen is up, and you might have seen it, you know, use, you know, custom build the deck, you know, but with any deck in Hearthstone, you should have a point to it. There should be an idea of what you're going for. And that's actually the best thing about this Naxxramas expansion, is it gives you something you didn't have in the tutorial when that was learning, is that when you're putting a deck together, there should be an overarching idea of how you're going to win. You know, what combo are you going for? A combo? Are you going to get out stuff like at the top end? So top end being like 7, 8, 9 mana, that kind of thing, and everything in the middle is just trying to survive to get you through to that point. Like, how are you going to win? You know, even if it's just having the warrior just go whack, 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 or something like that. Might be a bad plan, but... And it just sort of terrible pun, but yeah, you just have to have a point of how you're going to go about it. So we'll have a look at Noth, and from what I remember, Noth was pretty rubbish. So this shouldn't be too hard. I imagine most of you have beaten this already. But if not, you can see how annoying he is, because he has a passive power. And so it's kind of cool because with the week delay, it does give that sort of time to, if Blizzard want to, and I don't think they have, to sort of change up things a little so that decks that might have worked in 1 week can't work the next. But although I imagine they probably did that when they were designing it anyway. I'll drop the 5, because I don't really want to draw it. 4, that'll do. Okay, so let's take a look at this passive power. It's basically raising a skeleton. It's a 1-1, I think. 1-1 or 1-2? Yeah, it's a 1-1 anytime something dies. One of your side. It'd be interesting as a heroic. we'll just play the buzzard. I hate that it's one,
I'll show them
but
all.
that's fine. So we'll get... Do I want that or the blood fin? Now I'll get the blood fin out.
Job done.
And we'll just start the race. Mage secret. 3, I'm going to guess a counter spell.
Rise and fight once more.
Did he get a second secret? You bugger. Okay, that's kind of annoying. What creature here do I like the least? Okay, so it's definitely spell or minion summon related. So, Haunted Creeper I don't care about. Okay. That's...
Job's done.
I'm just going to do that for the meantime, only because I want to get the timber... If I just put the Timber Wolf out, it's just going to die, so...
Bring out your dead.
See how this goes. I go into... Actually, I'll do that. I'll trade that off. 2 copies of skeletons into your hand. Okay. Should counter that. Yep, so it's counter spell like I thought it was. Game want to attack. Do I really want to deal with no.
What we
It's only 3, but it's just 3 damage. It's not gonna cause me any great concern. So Hunter's marked that for a start. I want to get rid of it. I'll get its haunt out just to make it up. That didn't work anywhere near as well as I'd liked, so let's just try the Hail Mary. Yeah. Okay. The skeleton's trade and I now lose an awful amount of life. Oh. Okay. I really didn't think about that in the slightest. Well, the good thing is I can get away with this. Okay, so I might not be in a completely... Oh, you're joking. I'd forgotten about that card too. So now I'm basically dead. Well, yeah. 1. So for this one, it's kind of obvious that you probably want to be dealing with a mage. You want to be using a mage deck, I should say. Because if you have less creatures, if you're killing his creatures, his passive doesn't trigger. And then, you know, life is easier.
Hagen sent me a message telling me that he promises not to kill you if you don't play any cards against him.
So Eruption here is really what you want to deal with Hagen, and it does 2 damage to the leftmost enemy minion, which is kind of weird. It means if you only have 1 or 2 creatures out mostly, it can be a bit odd. Otherwise, you just need to be clever about where you... It's not even being clever, just be aware of where you're putting summoning the creatures on the board. Like, you do have that choice. Which sometimes you forget about in Hearthstone because it's sort of not really a thing, you just put creatures out.
Begin.
I'm actually okay. I'm gonna keep this. Even though I'm obviously not playing Timberwolf straight away, just because it will just instantly die. And again, still not going to play Timberwolf because really there's no point just having a... Both players have 2 mana crystal. So what you're telling me is I'm going to have a taunt and the Timberwolf. Yep. I can live with that. Taunt. And my Timberwolf. And just to be a pain.
Job done.
Now, this is where the sort of the hero power could come into... Oh, it's just going to solve that. Okay, that's fine. I can live with that. 2 and taunt. Nah, it doesn't really want that. We go 3 and 2. Death Rattle, put it from your hand into the battlefield. Now, if I give it 2-1 now, it's still not going to do anything, so I'm just going to take the 1 damage because... So now it's essentially going to... So it worked out the same way anyway, but I got an extra damage instead of having to throw the beast, the wolf into the Void Walker. So I'm happy with that. Please don't be 1 month. Yep, suits me just fine. And just get Blood Phantom. I'm not going to really attack into Doom Guard. Help me. Now, having an Abomination out from the Mage deck is actually really kind of useful, but I can't really do that. So, ooh, if I only had 1 more. Alright, well, go Unleash your Hounds. I'll get 4 creatures out. Have 5, I can do 5 damage instead to the Doom Guard. Can't decide if I actually want to go for the Doom Guard or get the Fell Guard out first. Alternatively, I could just give myself Taunt. Otherwise, if I don't do that... Oh, I will probably survive if I get away with this, so I'm just gonna... That's an interesting way of going. So let's see what I can get here. Probably do need to give one of these taunt. Not really what you wanted. There's no point attacking with the Hound because 2, 5, 6. So I'm basically dead at this point. Oh, almost.
The Frost Wolves stand ready.
Couldn't really do anything there anyway. So that's that boss, which I've now lost, even though I ran through in one hit with the mage deck. I've now just lost on camera, straight up. So that's kind of
Just
embarrassing.
being
But bugger it,
nearby
whatever.
Lotheb causes your flesh to rot. So I recommend a melee class.
Good old Naxxramas with his helpful advice there. 3 damage to the enemy hero. This is, I find, actually the most helpful because it lets you set up the battle situations that you want. And because I'm not worried, and because I need to beat the losing streak, I'm just going to go with a hunter deck. Mostly because I'm not concerned about my minions getting smacked by a, return to my hand, getting dealt damage because they're on the left side of the board, or just getting dealt damage because they happen to exist.
Let the hunt begin.
I'll keep the hyena here. Drop those 2. It's okay, I guess. Now, there is one thing actually here, which makes the... And that's a top draw. Lotheb has 75 health. And he also has a thing... There is a creature that comes out that gives all of your other creatures a lot of attack. I think it's like +8 or +6 or +8. So it works out really well for the hunter deck when you can have, a lot of beasts that suddenly, have got much more attack than you thought they would. It doesn't also have a lot in the way of, I can't really even see what it is. It just almost looks like, a spawn of Cthulhu. But the question is, what are we going to go with here? Whenever you summon a beast or a card, I actually want the hyena to stay alive, so I'm just going to leave it out. And he's going to be like, yep, we'll have a race. Suits me. Do I want to do that? I am going to be a little cheeky. And I'm just going to take... I could take 3 damage here. I will probably get... Yeah, I'll take the 3 damage that I get from that. And that way I at least guarantee that the hyena gets a little bit more durability. Because if I just attack and go for the 2 damage and then he trades for the hyena, I might get more later on, but I don't really like the chances of it, so destroy a minion, get a card, and get another card. That's fantastic. That happens to be also really cool. So give all enemy minions 8 attack. This is a spore, so straight away the first things I'm going to want to get out are spiders.
I hunt alone.
Beautiful. More spores. So I don't really actually want to destroy them, and I don't want to get rid of them because I need them out there. But it will play the Frost Wolf.
Frost wolves stand ready. I don't have enough mana. I hunt alone.
And I'm just going to take up the damage. Go for a little bit more then. And I'm happy for that, for that 5 to be traded. And I'll just wait at the moment for the hounds to come calling.
Hunt alone.
So this suits me just sort of more spores. Kind of really wish I had the charge though. See, this is getting kind of aggravating because none of these are precisely what I want or need at this point, and multi-shot will be great. Destroy all minions down to 2 trance. And that's a pain. It's 25 5 damage each on those little spiders. What a pain. So, the buzzard will die pretty much instantly. 3 damage to random. It hits the spore. That's... there's not much I can do about that.
I hunt alone.
Kind of have to clear the board for this. I don't really want to do that either. I'm at the stage where I need to get some sort of presence going. If only because that hero power is now going to be the sort of the dominant factor in things. I essentially have 3 turns to go. And I haven't seen my wonderful card that gives me, you know, a 1/1 charge little beast, so I'm now sort of in a big... And I don't need kill command, goddammit. I could actually do 10 damage straight up now, but 10, 12, 14, but I'm not going to win the game like that. So I kind of spend a minute that. Again, option 0 really. Just take 2 damage. 3 damage from him and do 2 back. And now it's a hassle because most of the cards have been played out. You can't see these swamp oozes are not going to do anything. It's kind of very aggravating. And could just go over and over. And they're just going to win. That is frustrating, not seeing those two cards that you desperately need. But I mean, that does happen with card games anyway. So that gives you an idea of, one, how terrible I am at Hearthstone, how terrible I am at building decks, and also all of the bosses that are currently available in the first 2 quarters of Naxxramas. Now, the first wing itself, the Arachnid Quarter, is available for free to everyone, and you can pay to unlock everything, which will unlock the military and the construct quarters and the frostworm lair over the next 3 weeks, or you can pay a sort of real money or gold to unlock, in-game gold that is, to unlock each quarter as they open over the course of the weeks. So that's up to you whether you want to do that. I think most people would probably prefer to pay gold and then, you know, see if they can rack up, get the cards in, get them into the decks, play a bit of arena, maybe get a bit more gold for the military quarter. And also because this may not be everybody's thing, so you may only want to do 1 quarter and then decide it's not for you. If you are a Hearthstone player, or if someone like me who's come back to Hearthstone, hasn't played in a while, obviously, this is really the kind of content you want, because there wasn't any single player content before, and this gives a lot of different sort of arrows to the little bits that Hearthstone were missing. Hearthstone is very easy and very casual to get into, but it doesn't actually give you much of a route into showing you how you're supposed to play at a better level, how you're supposed to understand how decks are meant to come together. I mean, you can build them together with the automated tool and all of that, but this starts to put you onto the path of thinking of those things that you need to know about, synergy and plans and all of that sort of stuff. So that's a Curse of Naxxramas, the first 2 weeks of it. Actually, no, we will do one more. I did say I'd do the class challenge, so I can show you. Rogues, can you... My accent is annoying. Phaelina, so Lothar. I'm going to go the Hunter. Because I've played the Hunter deck, and I have to get a win, otherwise it looks really bad. It already looks bad now, but, bugger it, whatever, we'll try it. So what difference is in this? Well, that makes... Gee, we'll have 3 1 drops. That'll be perfect. I probably actually should get rid of one of them, but I just don't want to, because then I can... Oh my god, what kind of deck is this? How do I have 4 web spinners for a start? Is this just web spinner? Am I just playing the spider? I'm utterly bemused as to what's going on here. Oh, okay. Whatever, we'll get them all out. Let's have a party. More web spinners. Death roll draws a card. Well, this is one of the strangest decks I've ever seen. At all. Just start with... Apparently it's just filled with web spinners. Yeah, that's what I'm going to end up just drawing all the time, is just web spinners. Yay, everything gets +1. Random pirate. I don't really want a random pirate. Emperor Cobra. That's... I want that. And then either I get... Aww. That's frustrating. Now I really wish I had all those web spinners up. So what do we got here? So we've got a stealth that doesn't really... Random pirate from your deck into your hand when it comes in. 2 bananas. That's good stuff, Mikla. Thanks for playing. More stealth. Random minion with 2 or less attack. That's only going to be the spores, so I don't want to play that. So, alright. So we'll just go 2... 2... I obviously don't have any pirates, so I couldn't do that. Having my access now. I would like some taunt at this point. Taunt would be fantastic if I could get it. Apparently I don't think I can though. Force something out. Okay, so that's interesting. Holding back seems like it would be much smarter than what I did. But that's essentially how I won the first time, was when those spores come out and then you pop the release the hounds, and then you pop release the hounds before you kill one of the spores, and then suddenly you do a lot of damage very quickly. That's the general idea. And so a lot of people would have gotten through that pretty quickly, because zoo decks were the recommended way of getting through the first 3 quarters here, and especially through heroics. Particularly the last one, Naxxramas, because you keep losing your creatures all the time, so you need to have a lot out. Either you need to not rely on creatures at all, or have a lot out so that that hero power doesn't affect each other. So, Curse of Naxxramas, that's what it is. I hope you had fun. This is probably the longest video we've ever had. I think this is almost notching close to an hour now. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you around next time.